Welcome back, and thanks for sticking with us here at Real America. Well, we have some sad news to report in the war in Ukraine. Confirmation that a United States Marine, a former Marine, and as a former Air Force guy, I never say former or ex or retired because Marines are always Marines. But he was not active duty, obviously, because we are not at war with Russia and Ukraine. But a former Marine who went to Ukraine to fight was killed. He had told his family that he was dedicating his life to return back to the battlefield to help the innocent civilians in that country. 22-year-old Willie Joseph, cancel scene there, was contracted by a private military company to head overseas and help out. His family says he was killed on Monday. He flew to Poland on March 12th and then went into Ukraine the day after. He had been there since then, fighting the Russians. Leaves behind a wife, 7-month-old baby. We here at One America News send our thoughts, prayers, and condolences to his entire family. And I bring that up because our next guest is a Marine. You might know him as the Megaphone Marine. He's a doctor, and he's now a U.S. Senate candidate in California, which when you're a Republican, that's a battle. Cordie Williams is fighting for America First values in the Golden State, his latest campaign ad. He says that we need to continue this fight, not just here in California, but across the nation, and do it for our children. Take a look.
To come here today because I knew I had to take a stand for liberty. Now is the time for you to decide. What side of history do you want to be on?
California has never been in such a time of peril as this one. With gas prices soaring, inflation skyrocketing, immigration that's out of control, homelessness, and people that are hopeless. People living in cities like Los Angeles, where they're literally getting necklaces ripped off of their neck. And people still trying to recover from a 2-year pandemic when everything's been shut down and canceled. Some of the politicians that have been extorting this country and this state for decades upon decades are the same people that have this so-called political experience. These people are not only part of the state swamp, they're part of the federal swamp. These poor excuses for human beings have done everything the last 2 years to divide us. They've talked about race, they've talked about gender, they've talked about the 49% that separates us instead of the 51% that unites us.
All right, in our candidate spotlight tonight, let's welcome Dr. Cordie Williams back to the program. Hey, Jarhead, how you been?
I'm doing fantastic. Too blessed to be stressed. Thanks for having me on today, Dan.
Well, we appreciate you. I know that you wanted to make a quick comment about that Marine that was killed in battle over in Ukraine. Once a Marine, always a Marine, aren't you guys?
Yeah, you know, it's a travesty. It's weak, woke, failed leadership by guys like the cadaver in the White House. And if we had somebody strong in there like President Trump, somebody that's bold and that is a lion that shows strength, I don't think we'd be involved or have anybody over there.
I agree. I agree. I mean, come on. We wouldn't have the border crisis that we're experiencing. I think the economy would be bouncing back a lot better under Trump's leadership versus this spend, 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 print money and send it everywhere that Biden's doing. And then you look at the war, you look at what's happening in the Middle East with China and Taiwan, with Syria, Iran, and Israel. All of this. I don't think any of these crises that we're all facing at home and globally would be either happening or even a fraction of what they've become if we still had Trump in office. So I'm fully in agreement with you there, Cordie. Let's talk about your campaign. You and I are buds, so folks know. We're friends. Known you for quite some time now. And when you told me you were going to run for this seat, I said, Cordie, it's California. And you told me?
Well, you know, Dan, I mean, we've out-fundraised everybody by 80%. And, you know, from the get-go, I knew this seat was vulnerable because the lapdog Alex Padilla, that's done nothing for California, he's in spot 1. It's a jungle primary. Spot 2 is mine for the taking. We won the California Republican Assembly and the Tea Party Caucus of California. Those grassroots endorsements, 18 major endorsements. God's on our side. We feel like now is the time. If this seat's going to flip, it's going to flip right now, and it's going to be Cordie Williams that flips it.
I hope so. I hope so. A couple of the first things that you would do when it comes to your platform that you're looking at really pushing hard if you get in that Senate, because let's be real, that's where you got power. I mean, there's only 100 of them. So give us 2 or 3 quick of things that you really want to push for if you get in there.
Well, I'm the only candidate in this race that's a grassroots candidate. I've done over 120 rallies statewide and nationally, and I think we need to mobilize people in activism. The next thing that politicians have to do, I call them servant leaders, is get their constituents to go out, protest, civil disobedience. That's how we get these terrorists, these people on the other side, to pass red, white, and blue initiatives. I also think election integrity, taking my good friend Sonny Borelli's landscape and Wendy Rogers, what they've done in Maricopa County, take that playbook and use it in the rest of the United States, build a wall as high as we can, get some more ICE agents, and then just enforce the immigration laws we already have. We don't need to reinvent the wheel there.
You've been doing great, like I said, crisscrossing the country, the state, raising a lot of cash and getting headways. Do you think it would come this fast? Because remember, I told you I worried about you, and you're pretty popular out there now, not just with Republicans, but there's some independents, and I would say even probably some ex-Democrats that have been showing up to your speeches and checking you out. That's got to feel good, right?
Yeah, God's really blessed it, Dan. He really has. You know, we've said from the beginning, it's not about red or blue. It's not about Biden or Trump. It's not about race or gender. It's about our kids. It transcends partisan politics. 2022 does, and it rolls into humanity. We feel so good about this seat, about it flipping, because, you know, I'm a Trump guy and a Jesus guy, but I represent all the constituents of California without prejudice or bias.
And California used to be a red state. Think about it. The glory days. That's why it came up and was the golden state, besides obviously the gold rush. But it was this place where people went west, right? It was the new frontier. And when Reagan ran it, it was running pretty good. Cordie Williams, the site is Cordie4, the number, Senate.com if you want to check out his campaign, donate. Dr. Cordie Williams, Marine, thank you, sir, for your service, and I hope to see you serving in the halls of Congress. We'll see how it goes this fall.
God bless you.
Take care.